Hey, and thank you for clicking play. This isn't a particularly authentic setup for the ZX Spectrum. We've got a 42-inch TV, flat screen LCD panel. We're currently loading a tape from a modern retro-styled boombox from Audi that has Bluetooth capabilities. We are at least loading from cassette and an original cassette. I didn't have a single game in my collection from 1982, so 1983 is the earliest I've went to. So instead, I've just gone for a game that I know I like from my collection. And we're connected to the TV via composite. The Spectrum, bless it, has got a modern PSU from Altronic, no, Jaycar, and it has a composite mod, which is how it's connected to the television, and it also has a brand new membrane in it, so not an authentic 1982 setup whatsoever. However, why am I talking about 1982? Well, because it's the ZX Spectrum's 40th anniversary today, 23rd of April, and I couldn't let that go without some kind of video. Now, as you can tell, this isn't my normal location. My retro room serves as our spare room, and we do have family staying at the moment, so I'm in the front lounge, as I call it. Also the winter lounge, because it's the one with the fireplace, which I'm sitting in front of right now. So it's a nice little room. Hence why I'm here. And this is actually a take 3, because I thought this wasn't loading, because Uridium, as you can see, it doesn't have the wavy things at the side that we're so used to with Spectrum. Your indicator is actually down here in the bottom left, and that threw me, and I thought it wasn't loading. So take 3. There you go, just to be transparent. So, yep, happy birthday ZX Spectrum. I'm loading this just to have something loading in the background, although bizarrely that is the least nostalgic loading screen ever because of the lack of wavy lines, so sorry about that. But while that's loading, I just want to talk about my memories of the ZX Spectrum and why I think it's such a special machine and deserves a mention on its birthday. I never had the ZX Spectrum, as those of you that have followed my channel for a while will know. So I always wanted one because that's what my friends had. So friends that had the ZX Spectrum would include Daniel from school. Our school actually had a ZX Spectrum as, I want to say, something you got to go on if you were good. That wasn't the case. It was more to help the students with learning difficulties in my primary school. So if you had dyslexia or something like that, they'd sit you down with a text adventure game, that kind of thing. So I never got to actually play on the ZX Spectrum at school. I did get to go to Daniel's house. Now, games I remember playing at Daniel's house would include a Tic Attack, Green Beret, Uridium. I'm pretty sure I played it at Daniel's house. Commando. What others did we play at Daniel's? There we go. Loaded first time. Fantastic. Now you don't have to have the screaming in the background. Oh, but we love the screaming. It's part of the nostalgia. Along with the load errors. Listen to the music. Hang on. And it's machines like this, and the Acorn Electron as well, that you forget the sound comes out of the machine itself, out of a little speaker. So you have no control over the volume. The way it throws the sound is quite amazing. I'm often fooled to thinking it's coming out of the TV because it's got quite a throw to it, bouncing off the bottom of the table from the Spectrum in particular, not so much the Acorn Electron. But anyway, so yeah, those are the main games. I mean, yeah, when I went to Daniel's house, we spent a lot of time playing other things other than the computer anyway. So we would play, with our Star Wars toys. He had the Millennium Falcon. We'd play with our Action Force. He loved Action Force, which is G.I. Joe in the States, and probably was G.I. Joe in Australia as well, I would assume. So we're into lots of other things. But yeah, definitely spent some time on his Spectrum. And then my other friends who were more local to me, so they were sort of... I always had friends from school, and they seldom lived near me, and then friends from my local area, if that makes sense. So friends from there that had the ZX Spectrum, in particular the 48K model. So I had other friends with the Plus 2 later on, and then I eventually got the plus 3. But I'm talking about the 48K because it's the 48K's birthday. So there were brothers, Daryl and Matt, and they had the 48K Spectrum, and I would often go around there and we'd play, and I've talked about this before, we'd play Saboteur, we'd play Paperboy, we'd play Horace Goes Skiing or whatever it's frigging called, occasionally, not very often that one. Is it me or are the Horace games actually pretty crap? I mean, they were early games. Let's give them that. I certainly was not a fan, and I know they're one of the games that people have held onto the license for and stuff like that, but they're crap. anyway, I'm sure I've offended somebody there. But yeah, so just those times, seeing them in the shop, if I saw one in the shop, I would play with it. You just had to. And just looking at it now, I mean, yes, this is a ridiculous keyboard. We all acknowledge that. A very clever keyboard if you're doing some programming. And in fact, in take 1, I started off by doing a 10 print Happy Birthday ZX Spectrum 20 go to 10, just so you could have that nostalgic experience. But you have to remember which flipping button to press, because you don't type print. You have to remember that you press P and it types print for you. You press G and it types go to for you. Well, that's all well and good, but when you get into ones that don't necessarily start with the letter of the command that you're looking for, you really have to spend time looking all over the whole keyboard. So yeah, it's an interesting experience. So, I mean, that's what my friends had. And back then, you went for the system that most of your friends had, and because then you could get into the game swapping. And so I really, really, really wanted the ZX Spectrum. And as you know, this one was gifted to me by Godfrey. And because he knew that I always wanted one and never had one. So I was very grateful to him for gifting me this. It's just fantastic to have in my collection. And just touching these, Dead Man's Flesh keys. I know a lot of people have hate for them. I'm pretty sure these would have been replaced as well because these look squeaky clean. But that is nostalgic in itself. I'm not going to press it because I don't want to start anything. Just the feel of this. There's nothing else quite like it. And the little click that it makes when you are in BASIC and you're programming, or even just at the start there to type load and load the game. Just such a unique experience. The whole look and feel of the thing, keeping in mind this was, a low price computer to try and get a computer in every home. It looks fantastic. I mean, to me, that is the kind of style of keyboard aside, that's the kind of thing Apple would try and come out with, in this modern day and age. It's really, really nice. So what I'm going to do today to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the ZX Spectrum is, obviously, I'm going to have a play of this after I've, said goodbye to you guys. I'll probably watch Micromen again. And I've watched that twice, I think, so far, and I don't mind watching it again. I know it's a dramatisation, and, keyword there being drama. But we know that there's a lot of truth in the story that's portrayed, as well as some exaggeration as well, and just a really cool way of getting into the history of Sinclair and the competition with Acorn as well. So if you haven't seen Micromen, highly recommend you look that up. I'll try and put a link in the description. Because I don't have access to my retro room, which includes my editing rig, this is just going to be straight upload from my phone. So I'll do the best I can for you. But if not, just search Micromen. It's actually on YouTube. Don't tell the BBC. It's on YouTube somewhere. So just find it and you'll be fine. So yeah, I'll do that. I'm not going to, go silly. I'm not going to be playing Spectrum all day. I've got other things to do, but I will at least take some time to acknowledge it because, yeah, I ended up with the Acorn, the Electron myself instead of a ZX Spectrum. I need to do a comparison at some point. I need to get some games that were available on both and just do a comparison between the two because I think that would be quite interesting. Even though I wanted the ZX Spectrum, did I actually have the better machine in the Acorn Electron? I think that would be an interesting comparison to make. Probably not the conversation to have right now on this machine's birthday, but certainly worth considering. But I eventually ended up with the Plus 3, which I absolutely loved. Obviously had the disk drive, but could still load from tape via the aux port. And I could still borrow and copy, games from my friends that had the 48K or the Plus 2, which was fantastic. So many great years. And it did, even though at school, we were learning to program in BBC Basic on the Master Systems. Obviously, that was immediately transposable into the Acorn Electron when I had that. But when I got the Plus 3, even though it was different, it was the same. The basics they're pretty much the same thing. And so, yes, I did spend time, more towards the end of the life I had with the Spectrum Plus 3, getting into programming. Nothing major, nothing very good, if I'm honest. And one thing I did write, I overwrote one of the pack-in game discs that came with the Plus 3 because I didn't have any blank discs, and I wrote an introductory disc as if it was a brand new machine because they never came with that kind of thing. And so I wrote on there, an art program that you could draw your own pictures on. So I wrote that. I wrote a program that drew the Ferrari Testarossa from side, end, and plan elevations. And I think I wrote a music program so you could, use the keyboard to play different notes. And there was something else, I forget. Well, I think it was just an instruction, went through pages of instructions. Nothing fancy. And on the art program and on the music program, you couldn't save your work. So you could spend hours drawing a picture. You could also crash it just by drawing a circle too close to the edge of the screen. There was no error checking. It would just crash the whole program. But I had fun. And, my brother that bought me the Plus 3 reminds me still to this day that he got me into my career in IT by buying me that machine and also giving the family the Acorn Electron before that. And he's right. He is right. Tinkering with that machine and having a love for the machine, a love for gaming, but that slid into a love for, okay, what else can I do with this? Took me to where I am today. Not specifically to where I am today, because I can't say too much about my current job. It's not particularly exciting. It doesn't really involve IT. But still, the experience through my IT and multimedia career has got me to where I am today. So, yeah, it's fantastic. So I love it. So, yep, happy birthday, 48K. I'll have one quick go, all right? One quick go on camera. Ugh. So unscripted, so unplanned, but that's fine. Right, how do we get into this? Do I press a number? Do I press anything? I haven't got my glasses on. Fire is enter. Okay. ZX. L? What? Oh no, what? Z, that's left and right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. L, and then is it P? Oh no, P is P, pause. What's up? Down is symbol shift, is it? All right. Of course it is. I don't want to be paused. Okay, we're there. Right, we're there, and that's fire. Okay, good. As you guys know, because I played this, I know I played it. I mean, look at how fast this is. For the Spectrum, 48K. Look at the background scrolling. It's smooth as anything. I love it. So I know. Oh, get off! No, there you go. I know I played it on the Spectrum. Pretty sure it was at Daniel's house, and I'm pretty sure. Oh, damn you! I'm pretty sure I played it at my mate Tim's house on his Commodore 64. I'm pretty sure I saw it on that, because when I look at screenshots of the C64 version, they do ring bells. And that's why, because I, had the Acorn Electron at the time. Land now, where? You land now. Land on your face. Oh, Joe, that's not good. Oh, I forgot. So that's why I ended up having a love for Psychastria, because it was the closest game, bollocks. It was the closest game I could find that was, and you can see it's so similar to Uridium. Not as fast, nowhere near. This is, you can really cane it. Well, if you came here to watch some good Uridium gameplay, I'm really sorry. Maybe do a search on YouTube. But look, I'm going to have a good play with this because it is a game I like. That's the first time I've played it in, you know, almost 40 years, it would seem. So, yeah, we'll get back into that. But yeah, enjoy the Spectrum's birthday. And let me know in the comments. And YouTube gets a bit funny if you put a link in the comments. It generally blocks them. So if you run a YouTube channel, feel free to let everybody know in the comments of this video what you're doing to celebrate the 48K's birthday, the ZX Spectrum's birthday. And also feel free to say in that, and I've done a video, or I am doing the video. I have no problem with that at all. You know, encourage people to go to your channel. That's not a problem at all with me. But yeah, I'm not the one blocking things with links. That's YouTube. And unfortunately that's a necessary evil as well, because otherwise you get all the bot spam and all of that kind of rubbish. All right, happy birthday Spectrum. Enjoy, guys. If it was later in the day, I'd be toasting this with some nice Fireball whiskey that I have at the moment, but I'll do that later in the day. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for watching.